Hey, it's Leo. Welcome to my channel. It's been a minute, but glad you stopped by. I had to make a video for the Transgender Day of Visibility. It's me. I'm trans. Woohoo! For those of you who don't know, I'm a trans guy. I have been out for... I've been out for 10 years now. So this is also my 10-year transiversary. I've been on hormones and had surgery 9 years ago, 9.5 years ago. So living life as a bi-trans guy and loving it. I have to say, even with all of the nonsense going on in the world, I love being me, I love being trans, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So anyway, happy Trans Day of Visibility. I have this shirt, visible for those who can't be, from Point of Pride. I'll include a link for where you can get this t-shirt in the description box down below, because maybe you would like one. I think they also have shirts for allies and other shirts, so check them out. The proceeds from the t-shirt sales benefit Point of Pride's gender-affirming financial aid programs. So thumbs up to that. Quick catch up from last time. On January 22nd of 2023 at 11:38 p.m. I wrote the end on the first draft of the novel that I'm working on at 111,495 words. Now to revise and edit and revise and do some more cleanup. I'm so grateful for the amazing and awesome and wonderful and fabulous and did I say amazing people who are being beta readers for me. I definitely am realizing I have a huge learning curve still to go, but I'm committed to these characters in this story and I'm going to work through it and get this out there. Word by word, right? I was watching an AWP presentation on revision and two pieces that I'm going to try to take to heart. Write badly, just write, and keep going, don't give up. I feel like that probably applies to a lot of things. Done is better than perfect. No, perfect is the enemy of done. That's the way. Anyway, so that's a little bit about me. I'm still doing trapeze. I'm now taking ballet classes as well. Living out my childhood dreams, being a ballet dancer. It's very fun. I'm very bad, but it's a good time. I've been reading some, not as much as I'd like to, because I've been trying to focus on my novel, pointing over there, and that's where I write. I also have been trying to start getting back into catching up on BookTube, and I know that I'm very far behind on catching up on many of your wonderful channels, so trying to add some of that back in while also working on revisions and trying not to get too distracted, but you all have some really great videos out there, so I'm trying. I do want to, if I haven't stopped by your channel yet, you're on my list, I swear. Well, unless I don't know about you, and then you're not. I am hoping to do a video soon of some 5-star books that I've read, or maybe I'll just do a regular wrap-up. We'll see, or maybe it'll be July before I film again, but I do want to try to stay at least connected to BookTube. You all, again, are an amazing community. Speaking of amazing community, I was super excited to see the TransRightsReadathon. I participated in that in a very small way. I read one book. That was hosted by Kern. I'll link their video down below with the announcement. It was really great to see a lot of people on all sorts of social media participating in the TransRightsReadathon. So if you search that hashtag, you'll find amazing book recommendations and read-alongs and vlogs and all those things. Check it out. I had to make a video here today for Trans Day of Visibility. As I said, I'm here, I'm trans, I'm afraid, but I'm also full of joy and hope, and there's so many good things in life to celebrate, and I want to lift up that trans joy and encourage you as well. Hang in there wherever you are with your transition or people's acceptance or your own struggles, and know that you are amazing and worth it and beloved and beautiful, and the universe is so glad that you are here and you are you. For our trans allies, thank you so much for all that you do to speak up for us. This is a really scary time. We need you more than ever. Check out the local school boards. Donate to the organizations that are going to be fighting these court cases for all of these horrendous laws that are going on. Make sure to speak up in support of your trans friends and community on your social media platform and with your Uncle Joe at Thanksgiving, all the things, all the things. So please keep doing those. We definitely can't do this alone, but our community is strong. For this video, I'm going to share a pile of possibilities, a term coined by Kacen at Always Doing. Go check out her channel and subscribe. This pile of possibilities will be for the amazing, fabulous Readathon, co-hosted by Kevvie at Kevvie and Willow at Books and Bow. Go subscribe to both of their channels and check out their announcement videos down below. I'll give a little bit of a highlight of what the Readathon has, but you should check out their announcement videos. At the end of the video, I will also list a couple of favorite trans books that you might find useful for your own pile of possibilities for the TransGirlApril, or just in general, because we should be reading trans authors all year long. But first, with each video, I lift up a different nonprofit that's doing good in the world. I do this to remind myself, and maybe you, that there are people working hard to make this world a better place. I have the perfect one for Trans Day of Visibility, which is Mercury Stardust's second annual TikTok-a-thon for trans healthcare. I'll include the link down below, of course. For this TikTok-a-thon, they're doing a live stream, which if you catch my video and if I get it posted in time, you can go check out their stream. Otherwise, I'm sure you can donate after the fact, or the proceeds go to Point of Pride, the same place where this shirt proceeds go to, which is a trans-led 501c3 nonprofit that provides gender-affirming support to trans folks around the country and around the world. And I'll include the link below. So now, the Readathon. It has these fabulous prompts. Prompt 0 is to denounce fascism and pledge your support of trans people across all of your social media platforms. Merriam-Webster defines fascism as a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual and stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. So I 100,000% oppose fascism, and I will fight it, and I encourage you to join me in fighting it. And I think we see, especially that last piece about the forcible suppression of opposition, in the way that the book bans are going on, the drag bans, the rising misogyny. Like, let's shut it down. Let's live in a wonderful world where diversity and uniqueness is celebrated. So 100,000%, that's mathematical fact. I denounce fascism. I invite you to join me as well. Maybe put like a fist in the air or a heart in the comments down below as one way to do that. And also, I will be sharing my continued love of trans people, including myself, across all social media platforms, and I invite you to do that as well. The Readathon has several different prompts, so you can make it as a bingo board or as prompts or suggestions or whatever. There's the fiction, nonfiction, and genre fiction, and then authors of trans woman, trans man, or non-binary. So let's get to my pile of possibilities. So under nonfiction by trans woman, I have Janet Mock, Redefining Realness. I actually have 2 of her books, which I haven't read yet. The other one is Surpassing Certainty. And so Janet Mock is a activist, author, and she's been called the smartest woman on Twitter. So definitely I need to at some point read her books, and this is a perfect opportunity. So definitely Redefining Realness by Janet Mock is on my pile of possibilities. But I also have this, Time for Me by Alexandra Billings. This was recommended by Kevvie, and I definitely went out and bought it right away based on the force of her recommendation. She is a trans woman actor and activist, and has apparently a really amazing story and voice, and so this is also on my list. I have to admit it's a little bit longer, so I might, we'll see, but I just heard really good things about it and really good things about her, so definitely want to check this out at some point. This Time for Me by Alexandra Billings. Then I have a nonfiction by a trans man, and that is In the Margins, A Transgender Man's Journey with Scripture by Shannon T.L. Kearns. This is also on Kara at Wild Book Gardens TBR. She has a really great video as well about her pile of possibility, or TBR, so check it out. So I think this sounds really interesting. He's an ordained priest, a theologian, a playwright, and the co-founder of queertheology.com. So that's In the Margins by Shannon T.L. Kearns. Then I have this, which has made some rounds on BookTube as well. This is Gender Euphoria, Stories of Joy from Trans, Non-Binary, and Intersex Writers, which I am really excited about. I think that, as with any marginalized group, sometimes what gets the press and the ink and all of that is the trauma, and this is a nice, lovely look at some trans joy. So Gender Euphoria is on my list. So for a fiction by a trans author, I have Depart by Sim Kern. And this looks really interesting. Sim Kern is a speculative fiction writer. Depart is a social justice climate action story, a short little one that's about, that starts off with a hurricane that's devastating Houston. Our protagonist, Noah, is worried about his trans and Jewish identities putting him at risk with this community of capital T Texans. And so then there's this grappling, it says, with social justice, climate change, and asks the readers how they'll react when the world changes in an instant. So that looks really good. Also a fiction by a trans author is Story of the 100 Promises by Neil Cochran. This is a queer and trans Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I've heard really good things about this, so looking forward to getting into this one. For the Love of April French, written by Penny Ames, a trans woman, was recommended by Kacen at Always Doing, and I think several of you may have read it. And this is about a long-standing regular at a kink club finding love. I think it sounds like a really intriguing premise for a trans love story. And Kacen loved it, so yeah, I have to give it a try at some point. Also for fiction, I have Love After the End, an anthology of two-spirit and indigiqueer speculative fiction, edited by Joshua Whitehead. And this is also not terribly long, but it has apparently a lot of really great two-spirit and queer indigenous writers from across Turtle Island. These visionary authors show how queer indigenous communities can bloom and thrive through utopian narratives that detail the vivacity and enduring strength of two-spirit queerness throughout its plight in the maw of settler colonialism's histories. So that looks really good. This has been on my TBR for a little while too. There are also several books that are on my audio TBR, and one thing I want to recommend is that you check out Libro FM. They have a couple different playlists. They have a playlist for the TransRightsReadathon, hosted by Sim Kern, and then they have a second playlist for the Readathon, which definitely works and applies here as well. So quickly, some of those that I'm considering on my pile of possibilities are Confessions of a Fox by Jordy Rosenberg, narrated by Aiden Hakimi. And this is about a researcher who's throwing himself into the life of an 18th century thief and then discovers some mysterious confessions about them. So looking forward to that. The author is a trans man. All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Lane Anders. This Nebula award-winning tale of star-crossed lovers imagines an alternate reality San Francisco in which an ancient society of witches faces down a tech startup as the fate of humanity and the world hang in the balance. The most talented member of each faction, a brilliant young witch and a genius young engineer, are childhood friends beginning to fall for each other at the end of the world. So that sounds like a great synopsis. The author is Charlie Jane Anders, a trans woman. Witchmark by C.L. Polk, which is book one in the Kingston cycle, is a fantasy debut with magic, betrayal, and romance in an original world with a historical World War I tone, reminiscent of Edwardian England, in the shadow of a world war. So that one sounds really intriguing. Black Tides of Heaven, the Tensorate book number 1 by Neon Yang, about twin children of the Protector sold to the Grand Monastery as infants, and then there's a rebellion that's being put down, and then the twins' mother has twisted schemes and they realize they're pawns, and so then one sibling leaves, I think, and then they have to try to find peace. So that sounds intriguing. I'm definitely not going to get to all of these, but I think it's a decent list and I'm excited about that. I also have some favorites that I said I would recommend. I've talked about these before, but I wanted to lift them up again. The first is I'm Afraid of Men by Vivek Shraya. This is a really great analysis of masculinity and also her experiences as a trans woman. So I definitely recommend you check that out, or several other of Vivek's writings. She has quite a lot. I haven't read all of her works yet, but working through her oeuvre, and recommend her. Here's a really short but really powerful and good one, Beyond the Gender Binary by Alok Vaid-Menon. And this has a really great walkthrough of the limits of the gender binary and the possibilities beyond. Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is a really fabulous YA fantasy with spooky elements and a trans author and trans protagonist. So definitely loved this one, and I do need to get to the author's other works. They're on my TBR as well, but recommend this one. This one I have recommended before, and it's fabulous, but also is pretty heavy. I realize I should give some content warnings. It is about the experiences of refugees as they're fleeing the war in Syria, but this is The Map of Salt and Stars by Zane Jukadar. Fabulous book, definitely recommend it. You can see me talk more about this book on Sean the Book Maniac's Bite-Sized Book Chats, which I will link down below. He's another booktuber that you should watch and subscribe to. The last one that I want to recommend is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This is fabulous, also taking BookTube by storm. Hard to describe, but definitely amazing. There is a runaway teen who's a trans girl, prodigy violinist. There's a violin teacher who's sold her soul to the devil. There's a space alien hiding her family as international refugees in a donut shop, and then it goes from there. So good. And I need to read Rika Aoki's other works as well, but definitely recommend this one for you. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to continuing the conversation in the comments below, to catching up on your videos. What are you reading for TransGirlApril? Do you have any favorite trans authors? Editing Leo here. Got so excited about the Readathon and filming my first video in a long time that I forgot a couple of details that were in my notes. So first, the group reads of the Readathon are Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender and Any Other City by Hazel Jane Plante. I think both of those would be fabulous reads, and so hopefully I could get to them as well. Finally, there's an important part of the Readathon, which is to support trans creators through Patreon, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. There's a variety of ways that you can support trans creators. Kevvie at Say Kevvie and Willow at Books and Bow both have Patreons. I recommend you check those out and look for other ways that you can also support trans creators. Thanks so much for watching. Really good to be with you again. Sending you wishes for hope, love, courage, and joy.